What is going on, guys? My name is Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty, and it is time for another round preview of the AFL season. Today we're going to be looking at round 3, but before we get into it, please remember to vote for my Eurovision competition. There's 3 days left of voting, so you got 3 more votes. Link for that's in the description, and leave a big thumbs up if you enjoy today's video. Now, let's get stuck in. The first game is tonight's game. It is Port Adelaide taking on Essendon. It's an interesting clash because Port Adelaide, you know, they were pretty rubbish last week against Adelaide, had all sorts of issues, and Essendon were very good against Melbourne, obviously getting the win. And I personally did not know where Essendon was going to win a game. I thought they might have won 2 games this season, but I just didn't know who they were going to be against. But Melbourne, obviously, the first team to falter. Port Adelaide have lost 4 of the last 5 against Essendon. Obviously, this is a different lineup. But they need to take into consideration, this is kind of a danger game for them because, you know, Essendon will be full of confidence after that last win. Port Adelaide, they sort of lost a bit of confidence in what they're doing. They're just letting a lot of goals through, and that's something that, you know, they haven't done, and they're not scoring as heavily as they used to. So, this could be a pretty open, free-flowing game. It's at the Adelaide Oval. I'm going to say Port Adelaide's going to get over the line, but I'm not sure by how much, maybe 4 goals or so. Now, this Saturday's matchups are quite bizarre, and it confuses me a little bit, but St Kilda's playing Collingwood. They're playing at the MCG, and I'll get to why it's bizarre in a moment. So St Kilda normally plays at Etihad Stadium as their home ground. They're playing Collingwood at the MCG, which is Collingwood's home ground. It's a bit bizarre because it's St Kilda home game. Anyway, St Kilda, they don't look as promising as we've all hoped from St Kilda. Collingwood didn't look convincing against Richmond last week either. They did get over the line. Fasolo is just a gun player. You know, they sent him back to the VFL last year. He's come back firing and ready to go. He kicked 6 goals last week, so he's in the top tier of the Coleman race right now. But I think Collingwood will just be too strong for St Kilda. They just looked pretty a dismal outfit last week. When it was Rewald's 300. So if you had anything to play for, it would have been last week, and they just didn't pull it out of the bag. So I think Collingwood's definitely going to get over the line in this one. Should be a pretty easy win if they set their mind to it and just, you know, give it a red hot crack. And this is why the whole weekend's a bit bizarre, is because Richmond, who normally plays the MCG, is playing at Etihad now because St Kilda is playing at the MCG, which they normally play at. Anyway, the home grounds have been reversed for the weekend. But Richmond's taking on Adelaide at Etihad Stadium, which probably doesn't favour Richmond. They play better at the MCG. They don't really like Etihad Stadium. And the Crows, they're pretty good down there. I like to think that the Adelaide Crows, you know, every time I've seen them, they always travel pretty well. But I guess as an interstate team, you kind of have to because you play, you know, 10 interstate games per year. So a lot of people think Adelaide's probably going to win this game. I cannot tip against Richmond purely because I am a Richmond supporter. It'd just be wrong of me if I tipped against them and then they pulled off a win. I just wouldn't be able to get to the end of it. So I think Richmond's going to win this one. But let me tell you why Adelaide could potentially win. And that is because, you know, they have the most dangerous forward line and versatile forward line in the comp. Jenkins, Walker, Lynch, Betts. They're just goals everywhere to be had. They've got 3 players with 6 or more goals this season already in the opening 2 games. They're a very high-scoring side. Richmond, not so much. So if Adelaide are going to get them anywhere, if it becomes a shootout, then Adelaide will win this one. I'm obviously tipping Richmond as a Richmond supporter, as I said that, but wouldn't surprise me if the Crows got over the line in this one. On to the Sydney Derby. We got the Swans and the Giants. It's at the SCG, so that's a big factor in me making my decision. I was going to pick the Giants if it was at Spotless Stadium or whatever it's called now, but I'm definitely going to be picking the Swans because it's at the SCG. They just look really good off the back of the win last week against Carlton, the week before against Collingwood. They've convinced me enough. Like, I said Sydney's a very good side at the start of the year. I said they're not really going to drop off as much as people think. Purely because last year in the finals they were missing Luke Parker and Lance Franklin, or Buddy Franklin. And, you know, they were missing those 2 players. And Luke Parker's probably one of, if not, you know, he's probably in the top 5 midfielders in the comp. He is exceptionally good. If he was playing for a Victorian club, like, he would just be the talk of the town every week. It's the same thing if Pavlich played for a Victorian club throughout his career. He would have been the big the big factor each week, he would have been just the most talked about player. Anyway, Luke Parker's a gun, and Lance Frank, like Tippett's in good form as well. And he's, sort of the number one ruck there at Sydney with Sinclair as well. And so it's going to be a big battle against Shane Mumford, who, as I've said before, is the Giants' most important player. When he plays well, the Giants win. So that's going to be a pivotal battle to see this weekend. Mumford versus Sinclair and Tippett. I don't know if Sinclair's injured, but I'm pretty sure he's playing. Sydney will win. I think Sydney will win. But these are the rivalry games that make footy great. So if the Giants pull up an upset here, they're going to need a lot of goals, I reckon, from Jono Patton and Lobb and Hoskin Elliott, because still no Jeremy Cameron. He's got a couple more weeks to come back. So the Giants will lack that scoring power, and I think City's going to win. Swans. Gold Coast versus Carlton, playing up at Metricon Stadium here. The Gold Coast will go 3-0. They're going to win this game. Carlton will put up a big fight though, so don't be surprised if it's a lot closer than you think. I picked the Gold Coast last week. Yes, that was my good pick of the week. And definitely the Gold Coast, I think, are going to win again. Adelaide hasn't even been their best player in the opening two games. Probably been Aaron Hall. He is super awesome. Ryan Davis, coming off like no football for 6 years or something, and now he's come in and he's a great Supercoach to pick up as well, because he's going to get you a lot of money, and I should earn a lot of money there as well. But the Gold Coast Suns, for me, Tom Lynch is a monster up forward. I think Wiedering has his work cut out big time for him this week, because Tom Lynch, and then you've got guys like Archie and Jack Martin in that forward line as well, so they're going to be very difficult to stop for the Carlton defence, so I think the Suns will get over the line. Western Derby time, West Coast versus Freo, and this is pretty much a crunch game for both sides, in my opinion. Fremantle lose, they go 0-3. I think Mundy was just announced to be out this morning, so that's going to be even tougher for them to win without their new captain. West Coast, lost to Hawthorn last week, same margin as the grand final. Can they bounce back from that? Or will, even if they lose, they're then 1-2. Freo's going to be 1-2. And it's sort of back to an even playing field. But I think West Coast, surely they will get over the line here. Surely West Coast will win. Fremantle have just not proven us this season that they can do anything yet. I'm sure that will change, pretty quickly. But what we've seen so far hasn't shown us that Fremantle are a dominant side of the competition, and I think if they lose this game, that's done for them. They're cooked for the season, but I definitely think West Coast will get over the line in this one. Plus, they got the crowd. That's normally how these derbies go down. Home team, home crowd, and you will win the game. North Melbourne versus Melbourne now. They're playing at Bloodstone Arena down in Tasmania. North Melbourne have played very well down there over the last couple of years that they've been down there. And they're looking to get, another long-term deal to go down there, which annoys the AFL a lot, because if they get then Hawthorn and North Melbourne still playing games down in Tasmania, it kind of ruins their idea of, can we put a team in Tasmania? Because they only want one team in Tasmania and they want it to be a Tasmanian team. But that doesn't look likely right now. North Melbourne will win this game. They should win it. Jared Waite has been a star, so has Daniel Wells. I was very surprised that Jared Waite has actually played so well. Didn't think he had it in him left, but you look at Melbourne, they lost to Essendon last week. They just thought they were going to be a pushover win. They thought that they had earned the right to, be the most incredible side in the competition, that Melbourne was going to win, just regardless of what they thought was going to happen, and they just didn't prepare mentally for that game. So they'll need to prepare mentally for this one, because North Melbourne is going to be a tough opponent for them. So I think if they do that, they'll put up a challenge, but North Melbourne should get over the line if they are going to be the team we want them to be, or that we know they should be. They should be better than this. They should win this game. On to the next game, and this is the game of the week. I think it beats out Richmond Adelaide, it beats out the Sydney Derby, it beats out the Western Derby, but this is the Western Bulldogs taking on the Hawks. The Dogs 2-0, the Hawks 1-1, and the premiers here are going to be like, no, 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 no. As good as you guys are, we are the top dogs around here. And I think Hawthorn are going to get over the line. I know it's at Etihad Stadium. I don't care where it is. Hawthorn are Hawthorn. They are a very, very good side. I think that they are going to get over the line here. I want the Bulldogs to win this game. Believe me, I do. But I just think Hawthorn, being Hawthorn, will win. I mean, the Bulldogs are a very good side at Etihad. You know, it causes fear to opponents when they see that they have to play the Bulldogs at Etihad Stadium, because they play that ground better than anyone in the competition, and you don't want to play them there. It means it's going to be very difficult for you. They play a similar sort of style to, you know, West Coast and Hawthorn. They kind of got a little bit morphed, and they're the third youngest side in the comp. So don't tell me experience isn't anything, because they are very young, but they are very, very good. But Hawthorn, you got to stop Josh Gibson. If you stop Josh Gibson, then you'll definitely go away to beating Hawthorn. But they look so good against West Coast last week. I can't go past them. I want the Dogs to win, but I'm going to tip Hawthorn anyway. Final game of the round is Geelong and the Lions. The Cats are playing at Simmons Stadium, Skilled Stadium, whatever it used to be called, or whatever it is now. Geelong will win. Brisbane, you know, they show signs, but they still have yet to take that next step of actually, you know, pushing forward to win maybe, you know, 3-4 games in a row. And I think Geelong at home as well, it is at home, could win this one by upwards of 10 goals. So Lions fans are going to be in for probably another tough year. If they had a full strength side in, I'd say there'd probably be a sneaky chance of just about winning every game, because they have, on paper, they got a pretty good list. But it's just they all need to be together at the one time, and whether or not they can mesh together is another thing. Anyway, I think Geelong's going to win down at the Cattery. So let's take a look at my final tips for the week. So far, I'm on 10 out of the 18, which is about a 55% getting it right. I've got Port to beat Essendon, not by much. Collingwood to beat St Kilda, Richmond to beat Adelaide, obviously as a Richmond supporter, and then Sydney to beat the Giants, the Suns to beat the Blues, the Eagles to beat the Dockers, North to beat Melbourne, the Hawks to beat the Dogs, and the Cats to beat the Lions. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Remember to vote for me as well. The link is in the description. You can do it once per day. Do it today, do it tomorrow, do it Sunday. Sunday we'll get it done. We will win this thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.